Can you solve all these Google Analytics questions? Modules in real-time report. Well picked. Traffic, content events, conversions is the correct answer. Web analytics involves dash. Great job. All of the above is the accurate answer. Why is Google Analytics used? You chose all answers are correct. And it is correct. The values of web analytics are. Great thinking. All of the above is the right choice. When was Google Analytics launched? Nice work. You chose November 2005 and it is correct. What is used to create SMART goals? Excellent. Machine learning algorithms is a brilliant choice. What is the Google tool to measure ROI? Good job. Analytics works well here. Where do you upload Google Analytics code? Well done. In the head section is the right choice. At what level can we connect to Google Ads? Well reasoned. Property is the correct choice. What is Google Analytics primarily used for? On track. Tracking website data is the correct answer. What technology is Google Analytics based on? Correct response. Cookies and JavaScript is the most accurate answer. The search engine with the highest traffic is. Strong choice. Google is the right answer. Which kinds of hits does Google Analytics track? Solid response. All of the above is a valid choice. What type of reports does Google Analytics provide? Smart move. Real-time acquisition, engagement, monetization is an accurate answer. What report shows Google Search Console data in GA4? Sharp thinking. Organic search traffic report is the right choice. The tool allows viewing online sales evaluation reports. Right again. E-commerce tracking is a valid answer. What is the name of the fourth version of Google Analytics? Correct. Google Analytics 4 is the right answer. What is considered a good bounce rate in Google Analytics? Nice selection. 30% is the correct and valid answer. What feature must be enabled to use multi-channel funnels? Excellent choice. Goals or e-commerce is the right answer. It is one of the most important metrics of Google Analytics. Bravo. Number of users is the answer. What does the Google Analytics account structure look like? Right choice. Account service view is the best answer. What type of data does Google Analytics collect for analysis? Perfect. Demographic information is the correct choice. What is not considered a default medium in Google Analytics? Smart pick. Google is the correct choice. What is the most widely used web analytics service as of 2019? You're right. Google Analytics is the correct answer. What does Google Analytics track as an individual event in GA4? Oh! Exactly. User interaction makes sense. Auto-tagging is used to collect data from what kind of traffic? You got it. Your choice, Google Ads campaign traffic, fits well. What is the name of the Google Analysis and Monitoring platform? Good thinking. Google Analytics is the right answer. What type of data prohibits Google Analytics that are collected? Nicely done. Personal identification information is a solid answer. What cannot be collected by the default analytics tracking code? Valid point. User's favorite website is true. What is not considered a source in Google Analytics by default? Clear logic. Your choice email is sound. The following is a report provided by Google Analytics, except a dash. You're right. Segment is the correct answer. Google Analytics cannot collect data from which systems by default? Right choice. Offline inventory database is the best answer. Which of the following is the correct hierarchy in Google Analytics? Correct response. Account property view is the most accurate answer. What campaigns require manual tags on destination URLs for tracking? Nice selection. Email campaigns is the correct and valid answer. What type of data does Google Analytics prohibit you from collecting? Excellent. A personal identifiable information is a brilliant choice. What campaign parameter is not available by default in Google Analytics? Clear logic. Your choice OTM-ad group is sound. The Google Analytics tracking code is written in which language? Smart move. JavaScript is an accurate answer. What should insert on the website you want to analyze with Google Analytics? Solid response. Google Analytics monitoring code is a valid choice. The default session timeout duration in Google Analytics is how many minutes? You chose 30, and it is correct. On which page should the Google Analytics script be installed? Right again. All the pages is a valid answer. What is the maximum account limit that each user can have on Google Analytics? Great thinking. 100 is the right choice. In what section of Google Analytics do I identify where my traffic comes from? Well reasoned. Acquisition traffic is the correct choice. To track users and sessions across multiple domains, what first must be set up? Nicely done. Cross-domain tracking is a solid answer. For auto-tagging, what parameter does Google Ads include in the destination URL? Sharp thinking. gcled equal to is the right choice. What is the maximum property limit that can contain a Google Analytics account? You got it! Your choice 2000 fits well. Which of the following is a valid metric in custom reports on Google Analytics? Well picked. Sessions is the correct answer. What report shows the configuration limits of each property on Google Analytics? Excellent choice. Configuration limits report is the right answer. Which user characteristic may not be used to change keyword bids in Google Ads? Good thinking. Ad preference is the right answer. Which Google Analytics visualization compares report data to the website average? Valid point. Percentage view is true. What type of information can Google Analytics provide about your website visitors? Exactly. Demographic information makes sense. And Dash is your access point for analytics. and the topmost level of organization. Perfect. Account is the correct choice. How long does Google Analytics take to collect and process events from a property? Smart pick. 20 minutes is the correct choice. 13. Which of these does Google Analytics use to distinguish new and returning users? Good job, 1. All traffic works well here. In which large section of Google Analytics possible to analyze product performance? Great job. Conversions is the accurate answer. In what section of Google Analytics we identify what is the best page of my website? Bravo! Behavior is the answer. Google Analytics can only recognize returning users on websites, but not on mobile apps. Nice work. You chose false, and it is correct. Which 3 tags does Google Analytics require for accurate campaign tracking? Well done. Medium, source, and campaign is the right choice. What is the maximum limit of properties that can be created in a Google Analytics account? On track, 2000 is the correct answer. By default, which of the following options is not considered a medium in Google Analytics? Strong choice. Google is the right answer. What are the 3 main aspects of Google Analytics that you should generally be looking at? Correct. Who, how, what is the right answer?
Which default traffic source dimensions does Google Analytics report for each website visitor?
Great thinking. Source and medium is the right choice. What is the maximum limit of data flows that can be taken in properties of Google Analytics 4? Smart pick. 50 is the correct choice. Which metric in Google Analytics is used to measure how many times a user has visited a website? Good thinking. Frequency is the right answer. Which of the diagrams below reflects the hierarchical structure of the Google Analytics account? You're right. Account Servicer View is the correct answer. What feature can join offline business systems data with online data collected by Google Analytics? Smart move. Data import is an accurate answer. Which of the following options is not a characteristic of personalized reports on Google Analytics? Good job. Real-time data analysis works well here. A reporting dash is the level in an analytics account where you can access reports and analysis tools. Well reasoned. View is the correct choice. To see the flow of visitors, according to the area, we need to see which parameters in Google Analytics. Nicely done. Map overlay is a solid answer. What is the maximum number of rows that can be displayed in a personalized report on Google Analytics? Well picked. 50,000 is the correct answer. What Google Ads report in Google Analytics can show which bid adjustments resulted in higher conversions? Solid response. Bid adjustments is a valid choice. What is the maximum limit of application data flows that can be created in Google Analytics for properties? Great job. 30 is the accurate answer. What role in Google Analytics 4 has total configuration control at the property level, but cannot manage users? Nice work. You chose editor, and it is correct. Which feature in Google Analytics allows you to analyze the specific actions visitors have taken on your website? Bravo! Event tracking is the answer.
Which traffic source dimensions does Google Analytics automatically capture for each user who comes to your site?
Exactly. Source, medium, campaign name makes sense. What feature is required to send data from a web-connected device to Google Analytics? Correct response. The measurement protocol is the most accurate answer. What role in Google Analytics 4 can create, edit and eliminate audiences, conversions, attribution models, events and conversion windows? Well done. Marketing professional is the right choice. What is the structure of organizing accounts on Google Analytics? Strong choice. Account property view is the right answer. How you will get all these quiz questions in PDF books format? Excellent. Contact Narayan Changder is a brilliant choice